As I stood on the rooftop of a modern skyscraper in the heart of a bustling city, I gazed at the city lights below, feeling a pang of longing mixed with disdain. I am a vampire, a creature of the night, cursed with immortality and bound to the shadows. My name is Alexander, and I was turned over 200 years ago, during my days as a medical student in Vienna. Back then, I dreamed of being able to help people with my medical knowledge, and even cure some at that time untreatable diseases. But as with all things in life, to do this I would need time. Probably more time than a human life offers. It was a fateful night when I first encountered the one who turned me. Her name was Elizabeth, a seductive and enigmatic vampire who had been lurking in the shadows, watching me from afar. She was mesmerizing, with her piercing eyes and a beauty that was both captivating and terrifying. She had been alive for centuries, and she saw in me the potential for power, for companionship, and for eternal existence. Later, she would often remark it was my eyes that made her choose me, as they reflected her own. One night, as I walked back to my lodgings after a long day of studying, Elizabeth approached me with her otherworldly grace. She enticed me with promises of immortality, of strength beyond measure, and of a life unbound by human limitations. For what I did next, you might call me a fool, and you would probably be right. But in my youthful naivety and thirst for knowledge, I succumbed to her allure, and she sank her fangs into my neck, forever changing the course of my destiny. The transformation was excruciating, as my body convulsed with pain, and my senses were heightened to an overwhelming degree. It's hard to say how long it took, as all meaning of time seemed to melt into the ground before my very eyes. But when it was over, I found myself reborn as a creature of the night, with enhanced strength, speed, and senses. I could see in the dark, move with unnatural agility, and heal from wounds that would have killed a human. But with these newfound powers came sacrifices. I had to sever my ties with my mortal life, leaving behind my family, friends, and dreams of a future as a respected physician. I became an outcast, shrouded in secrecy, forever hiding my true nature from the world. I was bound to the night, unable to step into the sunlight without suffering excruciating pain and risking my existence. I was cursed with an insatiable thirst for blood, the life-giving elixir that sustained me, but also kept me shackled to my vampiric nature. Elizabeth became my mentor, guiding me through the ways of the vampire world. I learned about the existence of other vampires, some of whom adhered to strict rules, while others reveled in the darkness without restraint. I was introduced to an underground society of vampires, with their own customs and hierarchies, but also their rivalries and conflicts. It was a world of intrigue, danger, and primal instincts. I experienced my first taste of blood shortly after my transformation, and it was a revelation. The warmth, the richness, and the life-giving essence of blood intoxicated me and made me feel just a glimpse of life. As the fresh blood coursed through my body, for only just a moment, I felt a warmth that was unmistakable for the essence of life. I soon realized that not all blood was the same, and that it carried the flavors of the individual it belonged to. Some blood was sweeter, some more savory, and some carried the tang of fear or arousal. It became a sensory experience, and I found myself drawn to certain types of blood, depending on my mood or cravings. I also found that healthy people would sustain us for longer, and tasted better than the more common blood of the homeless and addicted, while it could be drunk in an emergency. It was nothing compared to the true ecstasy that came with the drinking of the elites of society. I quickly learned that drinking blood was not just about sustenance, but about connection. It was a way to feel alive, to remind myself of the mortal world that I was cut off from. I yearned to feel the breath of life again, to experience the fleeting emotions and sensations that I had lost as a vampire. But it was a double-edged sword, for the more I indulged in blood, the more addicted I became to its intoxicating effects. Over the centuries, I survived historical events that shaped the world, from wars to revolutions, from scientific breakthroughs to societal changes. I witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of new nations, and the evolution of human civilization. I moved through the shadows, adapting to the changing times, always hiding my true nature from the mortal world. I also witnessed the downfall of many vampires who could not catch up with the times and stayed locked away as relics of a long-forgotten age. As the years passed, memories of my mortal life began to fade, like fragments of a distant dream. Faces that were once dear to me blurred in my mind, and I struggled to recall their names and the details of our interactions. The passage of time had taken its toll on my memories, and I realized that I was slowly losing touch with my humanity. But the blood, with its rejuvenating properties, became my solace and my addiction. Despite my immortality and supernatural abilities, I found myself feeling isolated and disconnected from the mortal world. I longed to form genuine connections, to experience human emotions and intimacy once again. But as a vampire, I was forever apart from humanity, a creature of the night who could never truly belong. Occasionally, I caught glimpses of my reflection in the mirror, a reminder of my eternal existence. My once youthful face had frozen in time, unchanging and eternal. It was a haunting reflection of the curse of vampirism, a reminder of the sacrifices I had made and the eternal price I had to pay. Over the years, I have encountered many other vampires, some who sought power and dominion over mortals, and others who embraced their monstrous nature without remorse. But I chose a different path. I always tried to hold on to my humanity, forever clinging to shimmers of memories and human morals, despite the primal urges that constantly gnawed at me. I refused to succumb to the darkness within me, and I tried to find purpose in my existence. I carefully chose my victims, feeding on those who radiated a sense of self-importance, or those who willingly offered themselves to me. I refrained from taking innocent lives, and I tried to temper my insatiable thirst with self-control. But the passage of time and the increasing addiction to blood took their toll on me. The line between right and wrong blurred, and I struggled with my inner beast. The bloodlust grew stronger, and I found it harder to resist the primal urges that threatened to consume me. I often found myself in a big mansion or expensive hotel, covered in the blood of people who had crossed my path. One night, as I stood in a dark alleyway, grappling with my inner turmoil, I caught a glimpse of a young woman, her face evoking a distant visage of a girl who had once looked at me with love in her eyes. The memories of my past life surged within me, and I longed to connect with the mortal world once again. But I knew it was impossible. With a heavy heart, I turned away, unable to succumb to the temptation of bloodlust. I vowed to maintain my self-control, to resist the urge to feed indiscriminately. I knew that my eternal existence would be a constant battle between my humanity and my vampiric nature, a struggle that would continue for all eternity. I continued to navigate the modern world, a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness, forever yearning for a connection to the mortal world that I can never truly have. I am a vampire, cursed with immortality and haunted by memories of a past life that slowly slips through my fingers. As I walk the night, my insatiable thirst for blood, my addiction to its life-giving essence, and my eternal yearning for a breath of life haunt me. And so I continue, a creature of the night that is neither alive nor dead. I often try to think back to my life before all this, when I would study in Vienna and had people close to me who cared about me. But as I grow older, they have turned into blurs. Still, there is one memory of a girl's eyes that has never left me. I can't remember her name or her face, but those eyes are eternal.